Hi, this is Sam Harper, and I'm in our. Wait a minute, let me take this off. We're in the technology and problem PBL class together. So I'm going to start giving everybody a few clues here on what the PBL problem that I've created for Algebra 1 at Tullahoma High School. Okay, so I'm going to give a few clues. Dirty old sock? Yep. Don't want to wear it anymore, but it's clean. So we got a couple things we can do with it. Tape measure? Lots of things we can do with a tape measure, right? Red bandana? That's this is not a Willie Nelson look-alike approach, so that's a sort of a tricky one there. How about some sandpaper? I got sandpaper here. Okay, we're going to have to use a little bit of sandpaper in this project. Let me see what else I can do. I've got one of these. I don't know if any of you guys recognize this. It's called a trim guard, and it's used for a variety of things. So we'll use this in this project, or the students will. And then, of course, sidewalk chalk. Our son is now 22 years old, but when he was a boy, we bought this, I think, by the ton, and there's plenty of it still in our garage right now. So, but interestingly enough, my wife and I still use it. Okay, let's get another one here. Here's another part of what we're talking about. This is a light fixture. Okay, this hangs from the ceiling, so it's part of the project. Could be part of the project. May not be, but it's part of the project. Okay, I could throw this in. This is baseball glove, one of my favorite ones, Mizuno. I've used it for years, softball really these days. But this is a red herring. I've just used it to try to fake you out a little bit. I know, Matt, you're a coach, you're watching. You probably got a little excited when you saw this baseball glove. So sorry to disappoint you. It's not part of the project, though I still love this glove. Let me narrow it down a little bit here. Got all these things. What are these? Paint brushes, little ones, medium-sized ones, in between medium and little. I don't know what that would be, but that gives us an idea what we've got. And then these small rollers. We can use big rollers too. I couldn't find any to demonstrate. I think we've lent those out to all sorts of people over the last few years. And then, of course, you got a paint can, okay, full of paint. I don't know what the paint is. It's irrelevant at this point. So, you guys are so what's the project? Well, let me call up my Word document that describes the project. Here it is. Oops. Here it is right here. Algebra 1 class. It's going to be based on linear polynomials and functions, ninth grade. And it is a 4-week. Let's see if I can reduce. There we go. Okay. So I can still see what I'm doing on here. It's going to be a 4-week project or problem, not just a 2-week problem, because it's enough time for me to get through, and you'll see in just a second quite a few of the standards. This year, the principal has tasked Algebra 1 teachers, there's 3 of us, to start to implement a standards-based grading system. So this actually fits pretty neatly in terms of what we're doing, because I'm basing this problem on the Tennessee standards. Now, those of you that have read the Tennessee math standards, I feel like I'm at the UN. I need to have a translator in my headphones to tell me what the heck they're talking about. But I've taken a few classes that allow me to break down the academic language to a little bit more of a common usage language in terms of math. So I've got a fairly good idea. The driving question is to develop a tool that any teenager can use to realistically and economically redesign their current bedroom. And so this is a real world problem as best I can figure out. Economically is important to me, obviously, because I've some of you know I've retired businessman. I was a business executive for several years and decided to do this instead of just sort of hanging around, become a teacher. And everything's economics. I think that economics is the driving force of our system. So it's important to be able to do this economically. My players are 13 to 15 years old. There's no ELL. Tullahoma doesn't have much of that. I know the ELL instructor quite well. He actually floats between 5 schools. That tells you the minimus population we have of EL. 2 IEPs. That's the anticipation at this point in time. I don't. I think that'll work there on the inclusion program. And then everything's pretty much even, male, female. About 20% are African Americans. They'll have 2 or 3 Hispanics, but they won't be ELL Hispanics. So there won't be any problems there. And then the patterns stay up. I'll have about 4 previous homeschoolers. Ninth grade seems to be quite a time that homeschoolers jump in. The community is, I could say here, equally bifurcated. That's to show that math teachers do know some pretty sophisticated English words. Bifurcated, huh? Pretty cool. Uh, in this town, we have an Air Force Research Center outside of town. All those parents are college educated professionals, and then we have the local working class families. So there is sort of a bimodal distribution in terms of family education background. About 40% will come from single family homes. Okay, I've got all my AP uh, APA citations, which I will tell you in the 18 months I've been at Lipscomb has been the most aggravating part of anything I've done. I've never been exposed to this. I went out and bought a used APA reference book, and I still don't understand some of the stuff in there. So it's a bit crazy. All right, so what we're going to do is, I think that my idea here is that I'll let you guys look through all this stuff. Uh, you'll see here through the standards. I'm not going to go through them a lot. I'll just touch on them a little bit. But it's going to be about functions. It's going to be about polynomials, adding, subtracting. And what's going to happen here is when you measure your bedroom, you have to measure it first. Height, lengths of the walls, the dimensions of the floor, all this other stuff, the dimensions of the windows that take out part of the wall, the dimensions of the doors that are going to be different, take out part of the wall. You're going to have to measure all this stuff. And we're going to use the polynomial variable is going to be cost to do something to it, to paint it, to remud it, to put wallpaper on it, to put carpet down, to put linoleum down, to clean and buff the floors, to whatever. It's going to be per unit. And so that's what polynomials are really all about. And we're going to do a lot of graphing of that stuff. We're going to do the formulating the expressions in algebraic terms, etc., so that they get a real good purpose on this. And in a minute, I'm going to show you, not literally a minute, I'm going to show you how I'm going to introduce this to everybody. And then it goes through here and it talks about create equations and 2 or more variables. We can do that. We're going to put time as another variable. Not only do you have to have a budget that you meet, and then you also have to have a time frame that you meet when you're going to redo your room. And I'm big with these guys on deadlines. Economic restraints, that's just right out of algebra, and time restraints. It's another part of algebra that's very important to understand how to do that. We use a lot of function discussions in this and making all these measurements in the form of a function. Function is, gosh, I think it's about 30% of the TCAPs. So it's very important that we have a good basic understanding of functions. Okay, I'm going to have teamwork. They're going to put them in groups of 4. Then I'll have them just work their way through. I loved what the future will not be multiple choice. They make the comment in there. The important thing here is unleash their ideas, and that's what I'm going to really work at trying to do. I use a reference to Peter Drucker, the management guru, in here because that's part of my business training years ago. You earn buy-in by learning to take responsibility, and so that's another element of this. Okay, I'm going to run out at 10 minutes here, so I'm going to do a part 2. Okay, I just saw this over there. And the last thing on there, of course, is have fun. We need to be able to have fun and do this. So I'm going to do a part 2. This is screencastify that I learned in one of the other courses.